So, ako si David, sa US, first name Armando lang tawagan dito. So I have to get used to that. But when I come to Asia, everyone addresses me, Dr. Clemente. Okay, so I'm trying to get used to it. So And I'm going to suggest today that those things that make it hard for you to see the liberty of God and the introspection that comes from this life, those are the things that will draw you away from Jesus. We need to be close to Jesus, and closeness to Jesus means living in the light. And this can be very challenging for many of us. To the Jews, it was challenging because it meant saying no to their law, leaving it behind. Kumbaga, I'm trying to think of a contemporary way. I'm thinking of just the young people of today. I don't know if you've seen them the way they react when they bring their cell phone and then there's no Wi-Fi. Hala! Asan na? Wala nang internet. Di mo naman, di ba? Natataranta na sila. They're in a state of panic because they're no longer connected to the internet. Di ba? Or even, let's say, when we are eating Filipinos, and we come when someone brings the food and then there's no rice. Ano ba yan? Wala ka. Diba? You react so violently sometimes. Nag-invita ka pa tapos wala na. Diba? That's also the way the Jews reacted to Jesus when he said, I am the light of the world, and you will no longer walk in darkness. And I know where I'm going, because and so the Jews had a hard time, and most of them actually left Jesus. So today I would like to suggest a discipline. This discipline is it's a little strange. Okay, let me rephrase this. It's not very much practiced in the Christian circle. This is the discipline of silence. The practice of the discipline of silence is just being quiet before God. Quieting our hearts. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 20 says, I will read it in the Message version. Habakkuk 2:20. God is in his holy temple. Quiet everyone. A holy silence. Listen. And also Luke chapter 5 verse 16. It says, Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. So really the discipline of silence is like prayer. It's prayer, but it is attending and listening to God in quiet, without interruption and noise. Because when silence is there, it provides freedom, the liberty to see the world as God sees it. And really, this discipline, you don't need to speak. You don't need to even listen to music or even sing a song. You just quiet your heart. Just find a place and just be alone with God. Mahirap, no? Because we're so used to when we say, "Oh, let's come and worship the Lord." Bring your guitar and then drums, which is true. I mean, that's one way of worshiping God. But when you really want to receive the light and see the world with freedom, we need a lot of silence and being quiet before God. So I'm going to suggest, let's with the permission of your pastor, try it. Just when you're working somewhere and then you say, it's your break time, go, how many minutes do you have a break at work? Maybe half an hour. Go find a quiet place and just sit down and just open your mind to the Lord. I know it's hard because you keep thinking, ay naku, bibili pa ako diba? Things come up. And then, especially the mothers, if you have young ones, paano mo, pasok ka na. It's cool. I have to send money to, it's hard. And I wouldn't share this, especially if there are members there are young mothers in the church, because it's hard. It's really even harder if you have a small child and you're breastfeeding and you're taking care of her 24 hours a day, and it's like. And then I remember my wife complained because she was breastfeeding our first child, and the pastor would say, "Find time to study the Word of God." Kung may free time ako, matutulog ako. If I have free time, I can sleep and rest. I'm so tired from taking care. So it's true that our life situations. But what I'm trying to suggest here is more of that, not the act of being silent. That's also important, but it is the attitude. Even if you're talking to someone, hi, kumusta? Quiet your hearts. Listen to God. Ano ba yung gusto pa sabihin ng Panginoon sa akin sa pag-uusap? What will God tell me when I'm talking to my brother and sister? That kind of attitude, the silence, just kind of being quiet. And I was in Kentucky. I was a music pastor for 2 years, and so I was leading worship like our brothers and sisters. They did a good job, and especially that song. Breaking the walls. What was that one? Breaking the walls. I can't remember, but it ushered me. Oh wow, yeah, that's how it really should be. And sometimes when I'm leading worship back then, I would just stop my guitar and just say, just be quiet, just be silent. Okay, so you get the point, right? That's the light. Jesus is the light of the world, and He gives us liberty, freedom to see the world as God sees it. We see the world through God's eyes, and then gives us introspection to evaluate ourselves. And so, in a practical way, we practice the discipline of silence, quietness, or we can call it prayer. Okay, so we don't have to use the word silence, but prayer in a quiet way. No? Let me tomorrow I'll share the other two descriptions of the light, and then I'll conclude it. Let me end this sharing time with a testimony, and a testimony of my life, but also a testimony of how the Lord shown His light to my parents and really forced them to quiet their lives. So I grew up in a Christian family, and we always, went to church and all that. I was 5 years old, and I got sick, and I was paralyzed from the neck down. And I remember lying in bed, and people would come in and out in the room, and I would follow them with my eyes like that, because I couldn't move I couldn't move this, so I would just follow them. And the doctors, my parents brought me to 4 doctors there in Goodman City, and they checked everything and they couldn't find anything wrong with me. They said, "Your child is fine. All the tests are okay." But of course I was not fine, right? I was, di ako makagalaw. Di sa mong sound ako, di mo talaga nakahiga lang. Later we found out that it's called Guillain-Barré syndrome, GBS. It's a disease where the virus comes and then changes the makeup of our antibodies, so that the antibodies thinks our nerves are foreign bodies. So it attacks our own antibodies attacks the nerves, and then so you get paralyzed. And they say it happens to many Asians. And the scientists now, they know what it is. And then sometimes when people survive, they get well, there's an after effect. There's blindness, or there's paralysis of one hand, or whatever. But the Lord healed me, and